know that there has had to have been some sacrifice, whether it's time or nutrition or whatever it is.
Recording of myself talking about having a relationship with my chest.
I'm Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy.
And this is Hacking Health Podcast. Yo, welcome to episode 130 something of the Hacking Your Health Podcast with Ben and Dave.
Welcome.
It has been
podcast. You're supposed to know this.
I know. That's my only job. Right, okay. Thanks, bro. Episode 139. There we go. Episode 139 of Hacking Your Health Podcast with Ben and Dave. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. What's up, dude?
Hey, things are good, man. Staying busy. I was just in DC last week. Next week I'll be in California, so I'm doing a little bit.
Going to tell the story about the coffee. No, is that not appropriate for the
what
about your coffee situation and with your suit? Is that not an appropriate story to tell?
That's
the
a good story. It's a good story. Yeah, we can talk about the coffee situation. So listen, when you live the pre-workout / caffeine life, everybody knows. At least most people, at least my household calls it the poop juice. And so whenever I have high copious amounts of caffeine, I have to use the bathroom pretty quickly. And so I get off at the airport at DC and I go to get some coffee when I get there. So I'm going to a customer site, and I was actually doing some work for Sands, helping them out with their bachelor's program for their students. And so I get off the plane and I go right to the coffee place. And as I'm waiting for the coffee to come out, this is like it's not a Starbucks, but it's like a kind of like a normal coffee shop. I'm waiting for like a flat white, which is kind of my go-to, just coffee and some milk. And I start getting some really bad stomach ache issues. Like, hey, I have to use the bathroom right now, and it's not waiting. And so I'm waiting, and they finally get the coffee to me, and I'm like barely making it to the bathroom at this point. So it's like, when you're like walking kind of sideways, like Humpty Dumpty, and I get to the bathroom and there's a line of like 15 people waiting for the stalls, of course, in DC, right? Like there's like 10, 15 people just literally waiting for the stalls. And I know it's gonna be like a half hour, 45 minutes for me to be able to use the bathroom. I don't got a half hour. I don't have that. It's going in the toilet. It's going in the urinal if that's the case. So I realized that, I'm in a full suit, like everything's perfect. Like I got this really amazing like salmon suit that my buddy in Vegas, sent me. It's just, I have this tailor in Vegas that sends me like these new clothes every so often. And I get it. I put it on, everything. I look great. It's like one of my favorite suits ever. It's the first time I've ever worn it. It's just hot off from the dry cleaners. It's perfect. And I'm like, well, I have status on American United. I can go to the American Lounge Club. So I'll just go to the club that's right around the corner. So I go to the corner and I get up to the United Lounge Club, and you have to go up the steps, and you either can take the elevator, or you can go up the steps. So I'm like, I don't got time for the elevator. Like, it's bad at this point, right? And steps probably were sus at that point as well. But I was like, I just got to get there. I'm just focused on a mission, right? I'm zoned in. That was my nootropic. Was I literally only mission. I was sweating. There's sweat going on my entire back. Like my armpits are sweating. And I start walking up the steps, and I got these big ass clunky feet. I got size 15 shoes, and I literally bite it on the stairs, like hardcore. Like coffee goes flying everywhere. It goes all over my suit. Like the whole sound of the entire American Airlines lounge, all you hear is boom, 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 boom. And I like literally bit it all over it. And luckily it only went like
240 pounds a day up
240 pounds a day, like literally coming crashing down on the stairs. And I have coffee all over the left side of my suit. And I get up there, and my hair's all fucked up. It's like all jacked up. My hair's like, I look like I'm sweating profusely. I'm all red. The lady up front's like, my God, you're having a bad day. And I'm like, I'm sorry that you had to hear that. And I'm like, can I just get, she's like, I'm not going to even ID your scan. You just go. Like, I trust you. You're good. I'm like, thank you so much. And I beeline it to the bathroom. I get to the bathroom. Everything goes fine. And I spend the next 15 minutes cleaning off my suit. They had like the dryers there, the hand dryers. So that was nice. I was able to like get it off and then like, hand dry it. So you couldn't really even tell, but it was definitely a adventure. So, what you learned today on hacking the health, if you gotta go really bad, be careful and don't skinny on actually going up the steps. Don't rush yourself up the steps. Pay attention to the steps so you don't die. So yeah. But it was good.
So the trip to DC, aside from that, was good.
It was awesome. Yeah. Being able to help, I'll say the SANS program, for those that aren't familiar, obviously a lot of folks in cybersecurity know who SANS is. One of the top tier, courses out there, certifications, you name it. And what I really like about SANS, and I always have loved about SANS, is they actually have like practitioners in industry giving giving the teaching, right? So these are people that have hands-on knowledge. It's not some professor that's never done cybersecurity. That's why SANS has always stuck out. You have some of the best really teaching the class. And I guess I didn't realize how awesome the SANS bachelor program and master's program is. It's incredible. Like, for one, they do things a lot differently. They're very focused on mission, which is, like, if you let's just say you take a student loan out, they don't require you to pay the student loan until you actually get a job placement in cybersecurity. And then on top of that, they only request 8% of your salary until it's paid off. And the loan rate, the percentage rate, is extremely low, well below the national average for the interest that is paid on those loans. So it's like they're really trying to help people out. And what's interesting is you do basically go to like a college, like a community college, for example, and you do 70 hours of gen ed type activities. So like, your science and math and things like that. And then you transfer over to the SANS Institute, their college program, and you can get a bachelor's degree within 50 course credits. But on top of that, you come out with like 2 or 3 prestige high-end certifications through SANS. So not only did you learn, some amazing classes through some amazing people teaching you, but you also come out with certifications on top of it. When, certifications are like to each his own. Like, some people are like, hey, they're not worth it. Some of them are. But to get taught at that age, early coming in, whether early in your cybersecurity career, I shouldn't say it's age related, but coming in, through your cybersecurity career, it's huge. It's, I was watching a lot of these folks. They have like a 2% unemployment rate. Like it's insane. Like, literally 98% of people that go through SANS courses, their SANS college programs, get a job. Like, that's unheard of, right? So it's one of those things where I think it's really important to get the message out there. So, Ed SCOTUS had graciously asked me to go out there and, work with them and talk to them a little bit about the program and, where I saw what it would take for like somebody like me, owning trusted second minor defense, why I would hire people coming from SANS and what's the differentiator there and what they can do to make it better. And so just really cool to be a part of that and help out. And, I was like, dude, this is like what gets me going. I will go out there for free anytime you ever need it, drop of a dime to help out. So that was cool. A lot of fun. Then I've been playing a lot of airsoft. So I literally, you're going to see in my check-in, by the way, I missed a leg session.
Yeah. I just need to say, I'm going to warn you now, this is a slippery slope, because knowing you the way that I do and going all in on things, I can't let airsoft take away from your time spent in the gym.
I just want to explain, though.
Just be careful.
So I just want to explain, I caught up with the leg sessions this morning after Orange Theory, and I did my arm sessions today as well. So I missed it on Sunday, but I made up for it today.
Okay. And for anybody who's wondering, Dave has done his check-in 2 weeks in a row, as promised. So far, so good.
I'm doing good on the calories. I'm doing very good. No,
I did have to give you a bit of a hard time in your last check-in, which it was deserved.
It was deserved. I had a bad pizza day. I'm not going to lie. It was a bad pizza day. I was like, yeah, like 1,000 calories over on pizza. I'm gonna do it today. So, but I've been true to it since then. I have not caved. But there was a thing called a lock-in night, and it was literally from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I left at 3 a.m. I didn't go to bed till 4, and I'd wake up at 6:30 to drive Gavin to. I was a wreck. Like honestly, I felt like I was gonna die. Like in your 40s when you only get like 2 hours of sleep, it's the worst thing ever. I'm a mess. Like, there had no energy. I didn't want to do anything, and I still had to I had to change light bulbs and do this and do that. I still had to be like a dad of the household. So took Gavin to practice, and then Mason had a basketball game. I'm literally sitting in that basketball game like just trying to stay awake. Like, don't fall asleep. But it was a rough day, so I did not do legs that day, but I did make up this morning. So. And
Mason did his first programmed workout.
He did. He loved it. Yeah, he said that was awesome. It's the best workout he's ever done. So
good. I'm glad.
Yeah. What's going on with you, man? You've been gone. You've been MIA.
I haven't been MIA. I haven't been in this country, but I haven't been missing. Like, I've been here. I've been there. For anybody who was listening to the podcast this time last year, you may remember that I did a leg of the Camino de Santiago. You just having a Rice Krispie treat right while I'm talking. What a time to be alive.
It's the original ones, though. They're like 80% bigger and more marshmallowy, which means more calories.
So they're legit.
They're legit. Yeah, they're good.
We got the calories for it.
Yeah.
So last year we did a leg of the Camino de Santiago. Last year we did Sarria de Santiago. And I went with mum and a couple of her friends. And we did it again this year. We did Porto de Santiago. So we spent all of last week pretty much walking from Portugal to Spain. I think it did maybe 100, I think it was 121 or 122 kilometers total. So like 40,000 steps every day. But it was like, I don't know what the equivalent is. It was like 25 degrees. What's that, like 80 something in Fahrenheit? So it was real nice. Like, it was sunny.
Was it like humid as well?
No, it was like right by the beach. Like, we were literally walking on the boardwalk along the beach. Like, it was absolutely perfect. It was very, very nice. So yeah, we did that. It was cool just to sort of probably disconnect in some way. So I got up early, did check-ins and did some bits and pieces that I need to do, and then just spent the entire day walking. Last year I sort of was listening to podcasts and like distracted myself, but I just didn't really listen to anything, just the sound of the ocean. Plenty of time in my own head, I did spend a lot of time thinking about work and thinking about business, but I think that's fine. I think that's what occupies my head quite a lot. But it was quite good. I will say, Mum, I don't know if I told you this, Mum fell on the second day, like proper, like sent it like a 5-year-old's fall, where they like they send it and they've got 2 cut knees, bleeding knees, and a big bump on her head. So she fell on the second day with about 4 kilometers to go. So we sat her down, and I thought she had a concussion. Like, I was like, fucking hell, there's no way she's making it. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Walked the last 4 kilometers every day. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today. Walked 18 kilometers the next day, 27 kilometers the next day, 25 kilometers the next day. So she got it done. But yeah, it was good. It was good to just spend time with her, hang out.
She's sweet.
Yeah, she's fine. I think she just she didn't want to give up, and I think that's the lesson of the journey, of just not getting up. Every day she woke up, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today, and then sure as shit she got it done. It was good to spend time with her. It's a nice thing to do, because there's a lot of people doing it for different reasons. And actually, she made a friend, a girl called Elena from Brazil. She was originally from Brazil, lived in Germany. She was a PE teacher, and it was funny because she was like, I studied sports at school. And she's like, she's thinking about her journey in that career of like standing, teaching kids sports. And she's like, but you're working right now as like sending voice notes or like doing check-ins. She was like, just couldn't compute that, essentially not the same job, but essentially like the same sort of studying sports and being able to manage it in a different way. But she had basically retired, and she sold all of her stuff. So everything that she owned was in her backpack. She doesn't have a house. She doesn't have anything. She has literally everything that she owns in a backpack. Doesn't know where she's going. So like, she walked with us for, I think, maybe 5 days. And then we left on Sunday there in Santiago, and she was like, I'm just going to go to the train station and work out where I'm going next. I'm like, just no idea where she's going. Just like, she doesn't know when she gets there. I'm like, what the, like, absolutely mad. Maybe that's the right way to do it.
Her on that one. I mean, geez, like, I wish I had the no worries whatsoever in the world. I mean, honestly, she's probably doing something right. Like,
absolutely, like,
no worries in the world, no commitments. Don't have a damn thing to have to deal with. I mean, that to me is life, man. Like,
you just have to wake up and go, I'm going to go here. In fact, I might just stay here today. Maybe I'll go to this place.
I'm going to chill today. I'm on the beach and hang out.
Yeah.
Let's go to another country today.
She was cool. Yeah. She was cool. So it was good. It was good to meet her. She was a good translator, because I mean, my Portuguese and Spanish are not good. I can order a beer or 2 beers, and I can order water with gas or without gas, and that is about it. So yeah, it was a good experience. Got a bit of a tan. Not as tan as you were when you got back from vacation, but
losing that tan very quickly, by the way.
I can see. But yeah, again, good to be back. Good to be get straight back into work. I said it's good to get off a flight and not have to deal with like a 7-hour time difference or a 5-hour time difference. Like, just be able to get back to work and back to normality today. I'm actually going over to London to see Matt this week. He's going to meet me in London. So I'm going to catch up with him just around some work stuff and plan some event stuff for later on this year. Today's been good. Had a call with everybody who's going to the next couple of events. So our next event is in Orlando in May. Then we're going to Berlin in July. We'll be in Vegas, obviously, in August.
In May, can you just make it on Thursday? Because I'll be in Orlando on Thursday.
I'll be in London on Thursday if you want to go to London instead. And then obviously our Belfast event in September. So just planning bits and pieces for that. And I actually got and I have to give Bill a huge credit. Now, I could give him a bit of a hard time because I messaged him on Friday, I think, And I was like, every week I'd sort of message me like, any estimated time of delivery on when we're getting this after movie back. And I messaged him on Friday being like, dude, it's been 6 weeks. Like, what's going on here? Like, joking, but also like, where the fuck is it? And he was like, oh, sorry, dude. Yeah, I meant to upload it. I'll upload it. It's finished. And he sent me this file through and I clicked open. And it's an hour and 15 minutes long. Like a fucking legit movie.
Legit.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, right. There's a lot more work that's going into this than I had anticipated. And didn't know that the Wi-Fi in the hotel was going to allow me to download it. But anyway, got it downloaded, sat and watched it on Saturday. And just like the brief that I give him was, I want you to tell the story. Because I feel like while you saw what happened in previous after movies, it didn't really tell the story of what was going on. And like, he fucking nailed it. So yeah, watched it on Saturday. I will release it at some point, 22nd, 23rd of May. I'm going to premiere it when we're at the Orlando event because I think it'd be cool to see it to everybody, but I'll release it on YouTube at the same time. So for anybody who's looking for it, it'll be 22nd, 23rd of May. But I think it absolutely encapsulates what the events are about. And I was watching it halfway through and I was like, maybe I should do more of these events. And I was like, I don't think there's enough months in the fucking year to do more of these events, but I'm excited to plan the next events and be in and sort of catch up with everybody in Orlando. So yeah, things are good, dude. Long story short, things are good.
That's great, man. It's life is good right now too. I mean, like I'll tell you, the whole, you mentioned getting into things, full send, and airsoft definitely being one of those. One of the guys there is part of this group called SRT, which is like their top end. Like they go to like these full military simulation, camps for like weeks on end. Like helicopters and stuff like that. Like it's like legit like war with airsoft, right? Like these guys are like the hardcore of the hardcore, right? I mean, there's a group of them, right? And they have to split them in different teams because they just murder everybody. And like these are like the guys that were like special forces in the military, and they just do this for fun to like shoot a bunch of kids. And I play with one of the guys, Ryan, quite often. He's a good dude, and we just talk about war stories and things like that. It's a lot of fun. And like when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing with airsoft, but as I've gotten Ryan came up to me during that lock-in from the 12 or the 10 p.m. to like 3 a.m. one. And Ryan's like, dude, I just want to let you know, like, you're really freaking good. Like, you're as good as us, if not better. And you were killing everybody that game. I got him like 8 times in the back. Like I kept flanking. He had no idea. I was doing like misdirection techniques where I'd have my son shooting in one direction, I'd flank around him and kill him from the other side. Like I was using my son as bait, basically. Basically, he's like, Dad, I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm like, you're gonna be fine, buddy. Just go. And then I sprinted, I'd kill him. He's like, it worked. I'm like, I know, right? I'm using my son like for like advanced military tactics. But he was like, dude, I just want to let you know, like, you're really good at this. I'm impressed. I'm like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's good coming from you guys. So
you're gonna get the call ups in.
Hey, I might be joining. The only issue that they have. So funny story. Obviously Marine, did a lot of training, was in war. I prefer these type of guns that are like almost like pistols. They're like lightweight. They're called speed soft guns. And what I like about them is I can use it as a rifle, but it's light enough to where I can go one-handed and shoot as a pistol. So, but it gets a lot of shit from like the traditional military guys because it's not like a full replica AR-15, and M16A2. It's like it's a more of like a smaller size gun, right? So I have actually a full size one. Well, yeah, you can actually see it here. So this is like would be like a speed soft gun, right? But my other one has like a handle on it. It's a little bit bigger. So it's more like a regular type looking gun. Then you obviously have like this one here, which is, again, an airsoft gun, but it's, fully decked out, to look like that. So they prefer more of these. So I get hell because I'm a speed softer technically, but whatever. Like I kill everybody. That's all that matters. So.
So you beat everybody. Long story short, it doesn't matter what you're shooting with, you're winning.
Dude, I was on a tear that night. I don't know what was going on in my mind, but like I couldn't talk to anybody. I was just like deep in focus on killing everybody. Like it was next level what I was doing. I definitely made an imprint. So anyways,
good.
But it was good. Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about is 2 things today. One, I got a PEMF mat or PMF mat. And I've been actually tracking the results for the past week. So it's still a little bit too early to tell whether or not this is like totally like magic, fake, placebo type stuff or not. But I will say the initial results have been pretty good. And the second thing I want to talk about was what it actually takes to get gains in the gym. And, I think there's, everybody I talk to, like Gavin Mason, just started off lifting, folks that are new at lifting. Even when we were at the meetup in where was it at? In Phoenix.
Phoenix. Mhm.
A lot of people are like, was it 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25? I'm like, the number does not matter. Like, stop focusing on the number. There's no data studies that show if you do 12 reps, it will increase your muscle hypertrophy strength. All right. Now, what we're talking about is like an RPE, or the exertion of effort. Okay. Now, that's hard to get unless you're tracking like in a journal, but there are techniques you can use to maximize your gains. And there's only 3 ways really to gain muscle mass and strength. Okay. There's 3 ways. One, time under tension, right? So the amount of time you're under tension during a lift. So let's just say the week before you're under tension 30 minutes and you do 31 minutes. Well, that's going to increase your muscle size and strength. 2 is the weight of the weight that you're lifting, right? So if you increase the weight of the dumbbell or of the barbell or whatever it ends up being, you will go up in strength and size, right? Hypertrophy, muscle strength. And the third one is volume. Okay, so the more volume you can do, i.e., let's just say last week I lifted a total of 5,000 pounds of weight, going up by 10 sets, 10 reps of 10 sets, or 5 reps of 20 sets, whatever it ends up being, 5x5s, whatever you do.
Your sets multiplied by your reps multiplied by the weight gives you your total volume.
Correct. Yes. That will give you the total volume. So those are the only 3 ways to stimulate your muscles in a way to gain muscle hypertrophy and hit both those fast twitch and slow twitch fibers in your bodies to gain size, volume, and strength. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what people I think have a big misconception of is rep ranges. Now, when we're talking about rep ranges, I think we should eliminate rep ranges. You should have an ideal range. And I like how you do that in the actual program, where you say like 12 to 20, right? You talk about a range. Now, what that range is supposed to do is saying, listen, if it's a 12 rep set, okay, and you have to get to 12, that 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th are sus, right? Like those are hard to get to. You might not hit 12. They're going to be sus, right? Like you're struggling.
Close to death reps.
Close to death on that 9th, 10th, and 11th set, and possibly will die at 12, right? And that's the way you need to think of it, though. But here's the thing. Let's just say you get to 12 and you could still go. Still go. Don't stop at 12 ever. Continue to go until you cannot put, and I'm talking on your first set too. This isn't like, there's a Chris Bumstead video that I really liked a lot. He was training with another person, and I think it was like a relatively new person to lifting. And he starts lifting with Chris, and he gets to the 12th set, and Chris notices that he can do a ton more weight on that. And so the guy stops. And Chris is like, well, why did you stop? He's like, well, it's just our first set. I got to build up to that. He's like, well, that's dumb. He's like, that's not going to give you muscle growth at all. Like just going until a number isn't going to give you muscle growth. He's like, that first set you just did, you should have did 25 of those until you couldn't go anymore. Then we'll increase the weight, but you should be burning your muscles out the very first set you do. Now, don't get me wrong, warm up sets, things like that. You don't want injury, but you want to go until essentially failure on every single set you do. And if you have to decrease weight because your muscles are fatigued, fantastic. Then decrease weight until you're fatigued, right? And we get too homed in on these numbers here. And I think people are training the wrong way. They're not getting the desired results because they're not putting in the right level of effort, because they're stuck in that, hey, if I want to go for strength, I have to do 3 to 8. If I want to do muscle hypertrophy and size and volume and strength, or size, volume, and potentially some strength, I got to do 8 to 12 or 8 to 15. If I really want to do endurance and get the most amount of volume, I got to do 15 to 25, right? That's all bullshit. Like, go until you can't go anymore. And you know what? If you only crank out 3 or 4, fantastic. You might need to go down a little bit if your goal is more size, right, and volume. Then you want to go down a little bit. But if you're not a power lifter, okay, you should literally be going to failure literally every time you start a set. The first set you do, let's just say your first workout is a compound movement, and it's a barbell bench press, and your max is 200, okay, or 205. Let's just say you want to build up to 205. You want to get the muscles flowing and things like that. So you start off at 135. At 135, let's just say you crank out 15, but you can't go any further. Good. Keep going until you can't get any more there. You take a few minutes of a rest or a minute rest, put in 245 or 255. Hey, maybe I can only do 10 of those. Fantastic. Go until I'm done. Get to 205. Cool. I can only do 2 or 3 of those. Fantastic. Okay. It is about burning your muscles out. It's about putting it under stress. It's about getting that pump that we always talk about in the gym, the what might be someday down the road. It's really all about exerting your muscles to the sense to where they are overloaded, they are tired, they are fatigued, they are exhausted. That's what sends the signals to produce more muscle, because our bodies are so brilliantly smart, and they're so smart that they know when we're just effing with it, right? So if we're only doing 10 to 12 rep range, it's going to be like, hey, look at this dumbass over here. He's only doing like 10 to 12 rep ranges. I'm not growing. This is easy. I don't need to grow any further. My muscles are like, hey, yeah, I'm able to handle this. This isn't bad. But when you push yourself above what your muscles think is possible, what your mind thinks is possible, that's when you get the most amount of results. That's when you get the gains that are necessary, in this business of growing muscle. It's pushing yourself as hard as you possibly can until you fail on every single set you do.
Agree. And I think that it's a tough one, because I think that that's something that you have to learn as you go. Like, rep ranges are beneficial at the start because it gives you a target, because you need to know how much weight to lift. And, like you said, if you're lifting a weight and you can only do 3 reps, that's fine. But if you have a target to get to 10 to 15, you know that you should lift a little bit lighter and push to that. But I 100% agree that people finish at whatever the top number is because they think that they've done the set and they don't actually challenge themselves a little bit more. Now, I would say that you can do it a lot slower. So if you do just if you go to 15 and then you up the weight and then you go back to 10 reps and you just cycle through that, over a longer time horizon, you can still get stronger, you can grow muscle. But if you really want to attack it and sort of get the most from every single session, you need to be going to a point that you don't think that you're going to do the set. You need to finish the set and think, fuck, I have to beat that next week. That is the feeling that you need to go to that and be have challenged yourself so much that you're I can't believe I have to do more than that next week in the set again. And I think that this comes back to what I said about 95% of the time, it doesn't necessarily really matter about the training program. It doesn't matter whether you do full body or upper lower or push-pull legs or whatever. As long as you're doing something consistently for long enough and progressing week on week, then that is when you will grow muscle tissue and you will become stronger. And I actually remember one of the very early on when I found Matt on Instagram, he did a post back when he still used to coach before he mentored coaches. He did a post on why do we always finish on even numbers. So he says actively go and look at your training log and you'll either finish on 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever it is. He's like what the fuck is the crack with the magic numbers? And I went and looked back, I was like, oh, shit, he's called me out on that one for sure. But it is the one that they are a range and they are a guide. But if you can go more, why would you not do more? Do you mean if you're there and you're in the set and you feel like you have more? I have said in the past that if it's on the table, you should take it. So, for example, if you're there, you want to get the most from it. You're going to spend the time. If you're spending an hour in the gym, why would you not want to maximize the time? Full send while you're there. Don't half-ass it. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a waste of time because obviously it's good that you're going. But if you're going to spend the time doing it, if you value your time and you're spending those minutes in that place, you want to get as much from it as possible.
Yep. And I think where I failed, if you look back at all my things that I've learned throughout my lifting career, which has been my vast majority of my life, right? The past 3.5, 4 years.
Not even 10% of your life.
Not even 10% of my life. And, Mason comes to me today. He's like, Dad, how much do you deadlift? How much do you do? He's like, man, you're the strongest person. You're probably the strongest 42-year-old. I think he said 50-year-old, by the way. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not 50, bro. What are you talking about? He's like, you're probably the strongest 42-year-old, in the world. Or right now, I'm like, I'm not the strongest 42-year-old in the world, buddy, but I'm definitely the strongest 42-year-old in this county here. How's that? And he's
definitely the strongest 42-year-old in this house.
Yes, in this house for sure.
For sure.
But I look at where my lifts used to be, right? I even look at the early ones when I started, I'd always wonder, am I doing this right? I got to 12, but I didn't understand the feel of what it feels like to exhaust that muscle, right? It's an interesting feeling. And what I'd recommend for people that are just starting off, start with a small muscle group, like your delts, your triceps, your biceps. Those are the easiest to burn out, right? And just for bicep curls, start off light and just keep going until you get such a bad pain in your muscles that it just burns even after you're done, right? And to the point where you can't lift anymore. And I'd even recommend, again, do this with caution, lower weights, but try pushing yourself even a little bit further. Compromise your form just a little bit. Swing your shoulders up, swing your back up to get those biceps into an eccentric motion, which is a downward motion, and do a few more of those on top of the ones that you can't get up, because your concentric, your fast twitch fibers are going to be the ones that you're exploding up with power. Those die off much faster than your slow twitch fibers or the eccentric movement. And so what I'd recommend, if you're looking on the
YouTube
channel, you kind of rock up forward, bring your muscles up to a bicep curl, hold it there for a sec, squeeze those biceps and then come down slowly and do those a few times to where you can't do those anymore. That's what we're talking about, the level of exertion, the pain you should feel. And you don't have to do that every single time where you're coming down doing eccentric, but just to feel that and understand what that means for each muscle group. Your quads, which are much harder to burn out like that. Your glutes and hammies, again, much harder to burn out like that. But your smaller muscle groups you can do very easily. Do lat raises, do 10, 15-pound lat raises, until you can't do anymore. And then start rocking your body up a little bit and try doing the eccentric motion, right? Rock your body up a little bit and start doing the eccentric motion. So, you'll start to feel what that feels like. And if that's at the 15 rep range, the 20 rep range, the 25 rep range, or 30 to 40, cool, like fantastic. Get to that point though. And if you're obviously in the higher subset ranges, I get bored after like 15, but I'm like, fuck, I'm at like 15. I can do 20. What? I'm getting so tired of this. Go up and wait, next time you do it. So maybe instead of using, 20 pounds, you go to 30 pounds or 25 pounds and see if you can get the range down a little bit towards that 8 to 12 sweet spot where you're at the 10th, 11th, and 12th. You're cussing out loud. You're not happy. You're burning. Things are hurting all over the place. That's
facials is the giveaway for me. Like your face can't hide it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're sort of deadpan, like you're not pushing hard enough. Like you need to look like you're in a bad way facially for those end struggle reps. I will say this though, like this needs to be something that you learn over time. Like if you're listening to this for the first time and you've never been to a gym, do not do this. Like do not go in and just absolutely send it, because you'll not have a good time. You need to learn how the muscles work, how they contract, what that feels like. And the way that I would recommend doing that is doing lighter weights for more reps. And I learned this from Helmy very early on. He used to always program like 20 or 30 reps for like hamstring curl, for example. People are like, I can't feel my hamstrings. He's like, do this weight and do 30 reps and then tell me at the end you can't feel it. You will absolutely feel it.
Absolutely feel it. Well, it's like run the rack, right? Run the rack with like you're going to be murdered.
You're going to feel it. But that's like, it's then knowing that, okay, right, that's what my hamstring feels like when it's contracted. How do I replicate that in different, at different weights and not have to do fucking 30 reps every single time? So learn how to do that first. Do lighter weight, higher reps to get that feeling of the muscle. And then, like Dave said, go into your sets and go, okay, right, in those smaller groups, I'm gonna send it, I'm gonna push it to feeler and understand what that actually feels like. I will say this from my session today, and I've noticed a couple of times, the pump formula in our pre-workout is rapid. So I get that feeling quickly. I'm like 7 reps into like lateral raises. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's that citrulline malate and the S7 berry extract, man. We got the pump formula like locked down.
And like, I don't know if I could do, like, you've had since you wrote me that first training block, whenever that was a couple of months ago, and you said at the end of every session do 4 sets to failure of lateral raises. I've been doing that ever since. I'm like on the first set, like 7. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how am I gonna do that? But yes,
I love lateral raises. I'll tell you what I've been doing lately, just for obviously I got your programming for push day.
Well, we should talk about that. Finish your sentence and then we can talk about your program.
Yeah, I'll tell you one of my favorite workouts for shoulders is first starting off with more of a compound movement. So, overhead shoulder press, but I've been using the machines more often. And the reason I prefer the machines is based off of range of motion. You really can't screw your shoulders up, right? That's what I'm struggling with. Now, I will say today, I'm happy to report that I was able to use the 60-pound dumbbells and do those for 10 with a shoulder press, which is unheard of for me since I've had my injury, right? I was down to 30 pounds on that, right? So I've over doubled that over the past few months, getting back to kind of like the rehabilitation. For those that don't remember, I pulled I'm pretty sure it's like my upper pec muscle, and it literally destroyed my left shoulder. It didn't hurt, was strained, but it didn't hurt. And I literally went from like, 150-pound dumbbells for 3 or 125 for 7 or 8 to only being able to do like 60 pounds on the left side, if that. Like I think I was actually down to 50 or 40. So my best chest press with dumbbells, I can only do like 30 or 40 when I first started off. Now I'm back up to 80s and 90s now with that, and overhead chest press now with 60s. So very happy with the progress there. But the shoulder press machines I love because I can really control the range of motion on those, and I can really focus on my eccentric motion as I'm coming down, and I get a really good stretch, of my delts as I'm going through and doing it. So I've been doing that. That's my first one. Then I usually kick off that with lateral raises, 4 sets of lateral raises, as many as I can go, but I try to go more on the heavier side. Then I do single arm cuffed lat raises. So using the cable machine. So, you want it to basically go just a little bit past, your torso, and you just raise up, and man, it gets any type of what we know from data studies on muscle hypertrophy is that whenever a muscle is put into a stretched position, it maximizes the effort for muscle hypertrophy. They don't exactly know why that is the case, but they know that you get more muscle mass and more hypertrophy when the muscle feels like it's stretched out. So like when you're doing a pec deck, for example, right? You'll see some people that start off in a relaxed motion where your chest isn't stretched out. So they're more here. And they do that obviously because they don't want to strain the shoulders, which I understand this. If you have an injury, I can fully understand it. But if you don't, you should be in a full stretch motion to where, you feel your chest, you feel your shoulders stretched, and you're coming in, you want to go all the way in to where your arms are touching. And even if you push your arms just a little bit up to get a little bit more into there, you're going to get much more gains from a muscle hypertrophy perspective than in a non-stretched position. So with the lateral raises, if you can do seated lateral raises, those are fucking stupid to me because I only can use like 3 pounds. So it's like I get so upset. I'm like, if I'm standing, I could do like 45s. If I'm sitting down, I could do like 10s. Like, this is ridiculous. But it takes your back out of the equation, obviously, which is much better from a muscle isolation perspective. But the cable lat raises is one of my favorites. And Jeff Nipper just did a recent post on it, and he said it's one of the best exercises for your shoulders because you are in a fully stretched position when it goes past your torso. And as you come up, you're getting that full range of motion, on that delt to really get you the good thing. So I do those. I do rear reverse flies with the pec deck machine, or seated on kind of a bench and doing the reverse flies that way. You can also use the cable machines. That's a great one. Doing the crossover rear delt, pull downs. Those are amazing. I love those. But I usually mix just one of those for rear delts, and then I finish them off again with lat raises again, until failure. The light weights, just keep going. I find those to be amazing. You can also use, crossbody, on the ground lat raises with the cables. Those are also really good. There's a few different variations, but those will give you some bolder shoulders as you're going and doing it.
Well, I mean, it's definitely worked from what I can see in terms of shoulders. I will 2 things that I'll note on that. I fell heavily into this whenever I work with Callum, and you will have known this, like you will have seen this in terms of like my progression with how I program. Obviously, before I was like, we want it to be optimal, so cables are better for the reason, as you said, you can be in the stretch position, but also because you can keep tension throughout the muscle. So if you're connected at the wrist, for example, or even if the cable's in your hand, there's constant tension on your shoulder the whole way through the movement. Whereas if you're using a dumbbell and the dumbbell's down by your side, there's nothing happening because the dumbbell's in your hand. So the muscle, like if you touch the muscle, it's soft, and you only really get the majority of the movement from like maybe 25 degrees up to 90 degrees. Optimal. Cables, optimal.
Yep.
Not often practical. Fine for you because you have the setup in the gym. Not everybody can get the cable set up and they don't have it. And this is something I've learned over time. And people were frustrated that they couldn't do it. I personally have gone back to, not always, but majority using dumbbells. But I will say this, you have to really know how to do the movement to get the most from it with the dumbbell.
So when I do it, I don't, when I come up, I make sure my back is basically slightly bent forward, just slightly, but I'm locked in position and I use my arms to go up. And when I come down, I don't go all the way down. Yeah. I keep my arms
so you keep
essentially a little bit. So the tension is always built into my shoulder. So I'm never releasing the tension from my shoulders to ensure that the time under tension is there.
Agree. Second thing is you will have heard me talk many times about active range. So like you talked there about, shoulder press and sort of limiting where you go into, or dumbbell chest press or whatever. And again, like a big advocate of that, and still am, because it allows you to be able to control the muscle. But one thing that I've been doing is trying to sort of challenge that a little bit more. I guess just to sort of see if I'd spent so long working through my quote unquote active range that I hadn't really challenged it, and maybe I could push it a little bit further. So I've stripped all the weights back. And like today I was doing 45 kilos, whatever that is, 90 something pounds dumbbell chest press. But I was right down, like the dumbbells were touching the side of my chest. And I've definitely noticed my physique looks different. Like going through those extra little bits, like the bottom of the range. And yes, if you have an injury, please do avoid. But I've really been challenging that. And like I said, I stripped the weights right back. So I've been challenging that just to sort of see whether I was like letting myself away with something that I didn't need to. And I was actually doing today incline Smith machine chest press, and same idea, like right down in the bottom. Like you do miss a little bit of like at the top part of the movement, you don't get as much from it. But I felt a lot better like being in the bottom of it and sort of challenging myself to see, right, okay, like what can I push right down in the bottom of the weight here? So it's been interesting. And again, this is the ever evolving experiment of like taking things right back to basics and making sure that, I'm not just letting myself away with it because quote unquote active range. And some things I will do, and I'm like, nah, I can't go past that because my body just says fuck off. Like, but you don't go in that direction.
Yeah, and that's, again, what we're talking about here, is things that you can really home in on form wise, knowing your own body. But it all starts with understanding, putting your muscle under tension, feeling that mind body connection with that muscle, but also knowing when that muscle's fatigued. Like if you're doing legs day, you should literally be almost needing a wheelchair to leave.
I still can't believe you haven't got one of those like magic stair lifts in the gym. Like the amount of photos that I have from you of those stairs, I'm like, just like get a lift, just get the stair lift.
That is honestly, I love leg day. I dread going up the steps because not only do I have to go up those flight of steps, then I have to go like upstairs again, 2 flights of steps to just to go take a shower. Because I always take a shower after I lift. And so like it's really like 4 flights of stairs after I do legs. And like by the time I get to like the second set, I like pause. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, like what? How did I get to this position here? Like
in one of the hotels that I checked into last week in Portugal. I've been walking obviously for like 3 days, and I think I'd done 27 kilometers this day. And it was like, the accessibility room where like everything's a little bit lower, and they have like the funny blue chair in the shower. And I'm like, so much of me wants to like not have this room, but also this could be absolutely ideal, and I could just sit in that little chair in the shower. It's like that's what you need.
Can I get the wheelchair room, please? If no one else needs it, like if you get spared, almost a book, can I get the wheelchair room? Because I know it's legs day.
Yeah.
And the optional thing, legs day.
the leg day room. But yes, so we'll talk a little bit on your training program, and we'll talk a little bit what I'm going to do with my training. As we discussed last week. So this is the first training program I've written for you for a while. You've been experimenting with your own things, and then obviously just playing about with a couple of different apps and stuff. But we were back to basics, and I wrote you a training plan.
You did. And one thing I will say, there's no substitution for having somebody else look at what your goals are and obviously be experienced in an area and build a program for you. Because I would not have thought up this training program. And to be perfectly honest, I was getting kind of bored with all the exact same stuff I was doing all the time. So I think it's important, like training programs change over time, right? You're not doing the same one for like 2 years. But 2, somebody that understands your goals and your restrictions and the things that you have going on in life. And, I had been, very transparent with you, obviously, as I usually am. I don't think there's any secrets I have that I don't hold back, like everything from bathroom breaks, and I'm crapping my pants.
Live. I get the live updates.
You get the live Facebook feed as I'm in the bathroom yelling, who does number 2 work for? So, but the thing was, like I expressed to you, I'm like, listen, man, I'm just dragging ass after Orange Theory. Like I'm just usually most days I'm just exhausted after, because I go all out at HIIT training. Like it's not like I'm sitting there just getting a brief cardio workout. I mean, I'm like exhausted. Like I want to go take a nap afterwards because I have just destroyed myself so hard. Because I got a person next to me, of course. So, I'd expressed to Ben, I'm like, listen, man, I'm admitting some defeat here that I'm getting a little bit older. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I don't want to have an intense workout. I'd recommend, and my goal for this block is to really kind of grow my upper body, most specifically my arms, as part of which, by the way, today I'm gonna let you know I was wearing the white shirt that I have with the smiley on it, and I was running. I'm like, oh my God, my arms, my traps, my delts. I'm like, this is amazing. I look at Erin, like, you see what I look like in the mirror? She's like, you're such an idiot. I'm like, but I was just like, I look really good. Like the veins are popping. I'm like, this is great. Like, I love this. Anyways, we decided to do, basically two full bodies, and then, a push and pushing the legs. So full body pull, full body push, and then that's what it was, right? Full body.
So I have it up here.
Arms,
so
full body pull.
The reason I did arms on Monday is because you can. Yes, you will be tired from Orange Theory, but you can still go in and get an arms down. No issues whatsoever. Yeah. Tuesday we have full body, so it's push and pull, so it's just a full body session.
Which you put in Bulgarian split squats, which I'm not very happy about that, but that's okay. They are amazing quad builders.
Yes, they are. I agree. I actually saw someone. I think he's like an Olympic speed cyclist or something, and he was doing Bulgarian split squats with 160 kilos, so like 340 pounds, maybe more.
I was doing 370 the other day, so that's cool. Yeah.
On a barbell, on his back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how do you having that on your back and then standing on one leg?
Wow. That's impressive.
Standing on what, like, fucking hell. Like, anyway, so yeah, full body on a Tuesday. Then you've got Orange Theory on a Wednesday with no weight and resistance training, which will be good for a break. Then we go into full body pull. We do an upper body push session, and then we do legs and arms. And I actually think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I got arms in every single workout in some shape or form.
You did, yes. So we a combination, which thank you, perfect. Combination of doing blood flow restrictions. So the thought pattern here being, when you're hitting the slow twitch fibers, especially with endurance, more of the volume, there's not a large enough repair cycle, but you're still sending the signals of total volume, first of all, for the whole week. But second, the ability to send the signals to the muscle to basically be fatigued, to grow and stimulate without having to do a substantial amount of damage to those muscles, right? So even if I do a heavy training session, let's just say Monday, Tuesday, I can technically do blood flow restrictions because I'm not tearing those muscles up again. They're going to be somewhat recovered, maybe not fully recovered, but I'm hitting more of the endurance aspect of it, which is still going to be heavy on volume. So we can pair those up back to back essentially without, doing too much of those to not actually get the benefits of the lift itself. Because, if you do like heavy legs twice in a row, 2 days in a row, you're doing yourself more of a disservice. You're not going to grow as much. You're not going to recover as much. With this, it allows us to basically have that recovery aspect in there with the blood flow restrictions. But then obviously extremely heavy deadlifts every day as well. So just kidding.
I received a voice note from Dave being like, I really appreciate the program and the time that you went and like the way you've laid it out and you've taken consideration into everything that I've said and Orange Theory and my goals and this. And he says, but I'm not going to listen to anything you said. I'm just going to do deadlifts every single day. Perfect. Thanks, bro.
So thank you very much. This training block has been absolutely awesome. I really like the split of it. Being able to do the full body. So full body is like, starts off with pull-ups just to get, kind of the body warmed up. Dumbbell bench press, hamstring curls, Bulgarian split squats, deadlifts, Smith machine shoulder press, chest supported row, BFR long rope tricep extensions, and then dumbbell hammer curls. What's nice is I was able to complete that within an hour. So
that was the other consideration, because obviously we've had this conversation about time spent in the gym, and now that you have a second hobby of our stuff, that we need to make sure we split the time across the two. And we both accepted going through using the Chris Bumstead app. Like those shorter work rates were definitely more beneficial, and like you can get a lot of work done in a short amount of time if you don't faff about. So that was another consideration, just time management of the whole situation. I will say, absolutely. And I'll say this live now, I have your measurements here for your upper arm. Number one, original circumference of your upper arm when we first started, 32 centimeters. Current 45.1. So we've definitely grown. But we'll see. That's crazy. Like, obviously the goal is to push this. I think we have until like the start of June, until we reevaluate sort of where we're at on things. But it'll be interesting to see how much we can actually gain on that over time. So find out at the end of June.
What was the measurement at when you 40?
The last measurement that you give me last week's check-in was 45.2.
45.4 right now.
So they're literally growing day by day. But it'll be interesting to see, because obviously that's the focus, and this is where it comes into. I know I said 95% of the time it doesn't really matter with the program, because we're trying to be so specific, and we want to specifically push like a specific muscle group. We have to be a little bit more specific in terms of what we're doing, and obviously training age and other bits and pieces start to come into consideration. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at with arms.
So what's your training block going to look like?
Well, I'm going to do legs 3 times a week. I think I definitely need to work on legs. And this is full transparency. I haven't trained legs as much as I should have for this entire year, because I just have made excuses and prefer to train upper body. So I'm actively going to go back to 3 times a week, focus on legs. I'm also going to focus on actually, again, going into sort of what full range of motion is, and actually mobility, because I sort of had a focus with everybody within the team on that, and I need to, again, be a leader and make sure that I do it and actually be mobile in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to write that out this week, but it definitely is going to incorporate legs at least 3 times a week. I potentially will do 4 if I do it like push pull back to back, but yeah, definitely legs at least 3 times a week to see what we can do.
Yeah, the Renaissance periodization guy's got some really good ones I was looking at from his like hypertrophy one. He had a CrossFitter come and do a muscle hypertrophy one, and just like absolutely wrecked him as a power lifter / like CrossFit dude, and just absolutely wrecked him. And some of those things that he was doing, it was interesting, because it wasn't, I want to say there was only like 4 movements or 3 movements, and they were intense. Like, the amount of time you're like, when he's going down, he's like counting like 10, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like,
there's actually so I guess for a bit of context of this, one of Matt's coaching mentors, a guy called Luke Lehman, he runs a company called the Muscle Nerds. He's an Australian guy, absolutely like fucking genius. Like he was on this call last week, and he was talking about like stress and digestion. He was saying stuff, and I was like, I can't actually compute the words that you're saying here. Like, it's beyond anything I can comprehend. He trains a girl who is also Matt's friend, Ali Gilbert, who we will get in the podcast at some point. I actually texted her earlier. We are going to bring her on the experts call in June, I believe. She was doing, Luke coaches her, and she was doing 10-second eccentric barbell squats. I'm watching it being like, that is such a lifetime to count those 10 seconds on the way down. Like, that is like, people give me shit for like a tempo of like 3 or 4 at the start. I'm like, wait until you're getting 10.
Including me, by the way, but yes.
Wait until you're getting 10, bro, and then we'll fucking talk about it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's just other, like you said at the start. There's 3 ways to stimulate muscle growth, and one of them is time under tension. So that's obviously what they're playing about with. Yeah,
it's I like the idea. So are you going to split them up a little bit? So it's going to be like a pull session, push session, or just straight?
I'm gonna look at my week truthfully, and see what my optimal training days are.
I know RDL is going to be in that for sure.
For sure, like probably do RDLs every single day.
As they are in mine, by the way. I noticed that as well. So yeah.
Everybody gets because RDL. So people will notice this. Everybody will get RDLs because they're my favorite, and not really anybody trains calves. So take what you need from that.
I've been training. I've been adding calves to every single one of the workouts.
I am actually do that. So
my calves have actually. I can see the definition on the outside now of the frontal part of my legs, so you can actually see like.
Did you get the surgery? Did you get the surgery?
I need
the implant.
I'll do that on top of it. That's gonna be cool to see that. Yeah, and I've been doing for RDLs, even though it's not programming. You said you either use dumbbells or bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically it is. I've been using the Smith machine, which I do prefer RDLs in the Smith machine just for stability. Some people don't like it because you really can't get as close to your knees as possible. Right. But I think, it's still a really good movement if you know how to do it properly.
Yeah, it's definitely like, it would be probably advanced from barbell because it is fixed. So you really need to know how to move your body into it. But I'll look at my week and see what way I'll split it up. But I'm going to try and do at least 3, preferably 4. If it's 4, I'll split it up to like push pull and then alternate between the 2. And then if it's 3, then I'll just do like 3 leg days, and I'll tag arms and legs, and then I'll do like 2 upper days in there between. But like it'll be 5 sessions across the week essentially.
Awesome.
But I'll write it this week.
Yeah. Let's wrap up with the PMF stuff. And just a quick discussion in it. So there's some really good data studies on this. It's been approved by the FDA. It's been approved. It's been used in hospitals and especially like rehabilitation centers for a number of years, like countless years, like 50 years. Um, but again, it's still kind of like that black magic. They don't know. The reason why it is they don't know exactly how it works. They just know it works based on the studies, right? So like they have a good idea around what they think happens, but they don't have the exact mechanistic portions of what actually does all of this, which is why it's still kind of in that area of like, does it work, does it not, or is it a placebo, right? To me, I can say just after using it for a week, I've never seen my recovery levels like go as far as they have, even with like good sleep. So normally I'm making like the 70 to like 80 range. I've been consistently hitting 90% ranges day after day after switching to the PEMF stuffs. And the way that it works is so PEMF stands for the pulse electromagnetic field therapy, or PEMF. And I know it's like a big term to go, but basically it's using electromagnetic frequencies to alter blood flow in a positive manner within our brains or our bodies, because obviously our bodies are energy, right? We use ATP, which is how we do production of energy, and our energy levels within our bodies, chemical reactions. And by using electromagnetic therapy, you can use different frequency ranges that match those same energy type levels within our bodies to conduct certain things in our bodies. So there's different frequency ranges for different things. The one that I got was called Higher Dose. Seems to be one of the best ones out there for the price ranges. So you can get the base mat, which is like $500, and I think the infrared mat is like $1,200, which is the one I got. I got the infrared mat, and it has a combination of what they call negative ions, which are these crystals that get to a certain temperature, then they have antioxidant properties. But the big part of it is the PMF stuff, right? It's also got a heating pan in it. So I usually go just kind of like in my underwear or just like, shorts, like workout shorts. And I take my shirt off, no socks or whatever. And I just lay down on this mat, and I do it right before bed or during the daytime if I need a boost in energy. So there's essentially 4 different frequency ranges you can use on the Higher Dose that have been attributed to, based on the clinical trials and the studies, randomized placebo human trials, like have showed, again, benefits of this. And there's 4 frequencies. The first 2 are around recovery and sleep. So like I use the first one, which is basically the frequency range for deep sleep and recovery of your muscles, your bones, your body. It's supposed to speed up recovery. The second one's more for if you want a much more deeper sleep. So it massive frequency ranges of like deep sleep or REM sleep. And that's if you want to use more, if you're not getting as much deeper sleep, which I'm good with. So I don't really use too much. I use one for the recovery aspects. So I do 20 minutes right before bed. And this is big ass mat. It weighs probably about 35 pounds. I literally put it on top of my bed, plug it in really quick, 20 minutes in and out, shut it down, go to sleep. And then my recovery scores have at least been improved by 10 to 15% each day by using that. Now, there's a third and fourth option. The third one is if you're kind of like dragging ass and you want more energy production or brain power. That's the cognitive function component of that. And that would be the third frequency range, which improves energy levels and improves your cognitive function. So focus, clarity, things like that. Number 4 is if you've had too much, just like technology overdose and your brain's just fried and you just need your brain to just like chill and be more like in a relaxed state. That's the frequency range 4. So there's 4 different frequencies that do the various different things. I haven't used 4 yet. I've used 3. I've used 2. 1 and 3 seem to be kind of my sweet spot so far. We'll definitely check out 4. But I definitely notice on 3 that when I get done, I feel more relaxed. And I also feel much more clarity from like mental fog or things like that. And I'm ready to go kind of, tackle the world and things like that. So what I've been using it for is after a really intense workout, I'll go on the PMF for 20 minutes with number 3. And I'll just be like refreshed and ready to go. Like I never even did the lift in the first place. And I'm just firing kind of like on a full kind of gambit of spectrum there. So I usually do that. I work out in the morning super early. So I'll throw the PMF, I'll grab a shower, hop on the PMF for like 20 minutes, catch up on some emails or something like that, and then get off of that. So I do it in the morning and in the night, and it seems to be pretty effective from what I'm doing. So again, a lot of good research, a lot of good data studies. The 3 main benefits, decreased pain and so I'll just read this article really quick from Hone Health. And they have the reference articles too. It says like Hone Health /PMF mat benefits. It's one of the better ones. They kind of had a good summary of things. They show the data studies that are in there as well. But one is decreased pain. PMF therapy has been found to lower pain and increase mobility in middle-aged adults with lower back pain and reduce discomfort of those with patellofemoral pain syndrome, a type of knee pain, when combined with exercise. There's good science to support PMF as a legitimate pain management strategy. It helps your cells in your joints and part of bodies that respond to nitric oxide related signals. This mechanism could promote the resolution of pain by accelerating the removal of inflammatory substances. Improve mood. PMF can potentially benefit your brain too. One study found that an 8-week of PMF therapy provided significant improvements in depression symptoms with about half of the participants with non-chronic depressive episodes and 20% of those with chronic episodes seeing at least a 50% drop in symptoms, which is freaking insane. Better sleep. PMF therapy could even help you catch more disease. Research suggests if you wake up frequently at night, use the bathroom using electromagnetic therapy in addition to medication. In this specific study, oxybutinin, can improve sleep quality, overall quality of life, and reduce nighttime toilet visits more than meditation alone. So yeah, it keeps going into more benefits of these, but just, again, multiple studies showing the benefits of this. And I just wanted to try it out. I heard a number of folks talking about it for the longest time. And I always just thought it was just like this black magic thing. It's probably BS and bogus. These guys are crazy. It's the grounding people are like, hey, go stand on, the grass with your natural feet and, all this other stuff. And like, you're going to get the magical benefits of earth, which there's actually some good studies on that too, to be honest with you. But, it sounds crazy, right? So I was like, let me give this a shot and just kind of reporting back some of the findings there. But I will post more about this in the next coming few weeks to let everybody know how I'm getting on with that and if I'm still seeing the benefits. So
good. Just another 1% that we're getting.
Another 1%. So now we're going to say is staple supplements, creatine, testosterone, just kidding, like
PMF, grinding,
PMF,
train to failure.
Yeah, I cold plunges. Start day one. Don't even worry about working out or your health, your sleep. Just go to like cold plunging and everything. I'm obviously joking, but yeah,
it needs to be cold plunging in what was it? Hydrogen water. Have you seen it?
Minus 300.
Yes, minus 300 degrees Kelvin.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
See us next week. Next week we'll have a guest again. Please don't be late or change times or just recognize that when we're due.
Thanks for telling me there's an actual guest this time, by the way.
I told you last time.
I definitely forgot that.
Cool. Right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Check us out at We Hack Health on all social media platforms. I'll see you next week.
Later.